What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Deathsquad 3.0. I don't know if that's the official title for what's happening with Deathsquad, but they hit a new studio, created and produced by Brian Redban, the Deathsquad Studios, the Deathsquad network of podcasts. Just started in a new studio, Burbank studio. Previous versions, the reason why I call it 3.0, started off in Redban's house in a spare bedroom with like the Naughty Show and probably Skeptic Tank, Your Mom's House. Then they eventually moved to the Ice House where he did that, Bone Zone. Joe Rogan Experience was filmed at the Ice House Studios, Ice House Chronicles. All different kinds of shows, which some of them still around, some of them left Deathsquad and started their own production of their show. And then it kind of stalled out. They did. He was still doing the Ice House Chronicles now and then, where comics would go on stage at the Ice House, and then between their sets, they could come and go from the studio. I actually went to visit the Ice House. Got to hang out in the Deathsquad studio at the Ice House a couple times, and definitely crazy to be inside of a place that you've only seen on a TV screen or computer screen, but definitely a cool spot. And this new studio is very similar in a lot of ways. It has the same table. I think maybe he upgraded the mics. I'm not sure if he did that back at the Ice House studio. But then it's a little bit tighter of a space. It's not quite as open space, but he gets a bunch of comics in there. Doing the Deathsquad Chronicles is very much like the Ice House Chronicles, where he invited a bunch of people over. And there's a room right next to the studio room where people could go hang out and eat and drink and fuck around. And then they would kind of rotate in through throughout the show. And it brought back a lot of memories. Like, there was a lot of fun times watching all of those live Deathsquad shows when they would go live. I was able to connect with a lot of other fans from the Deathsquad shows and started my own podcast collective, inspired in a lot of ways by what Redban was doing, but I made some tweaks and made it my own and was doing it a different way, but with a similar kind of idea with what he was doing, where he was trying to have a single channel. And then on that channel, there would be multiple different kinds of shows. Actually, very similar to the Ray Taylor Show, where each day is, a different type of a show. There's Swipe Up. There's the Ultimate Movie Championship. Sometimes there's movie talk. Sometimes there's MMA talk. But having one feed and then just having all the different shows on that singular feed. Of course, everybody wanted to have their own feeds, and that was something that led a lot of shows away from the Deathsquad network. Also, just the complications in scheduling and all that kind of stuff, headaches that happen with any kind of podcast you're trying to produce, especially podcasts that involve guests or multiple hosts. It's always hard to kind of blend all those. So seeing the new Deathsquad studio, seeing the new Deathsquad Chronicles brought back a lot of fond memories. I enjoyed. I'm so happy. I mean, there's a bunch of new comedians that weren't as necessarily. I mean, there's Sarah Weinshank was there, which was part of that old school crew, but Sam Tripoli and Jason Tebow showed up, and that was amazing to see. That really gave me the old feels of the past Ice House Chronicles. But you're also getting newer comedians like David Lucas and William Montgomery and Joel Jimenez and a lot of the Kill Tony crew, which Kill Tony has been a Deathsquad production since it started as Hinchcliffe's Notes. So that's probably the longest running Deathsquad show, but it's not produced in his studio. It's produced at the Comedy Store and live on tour. But it was nice to see that. Also, there's a couple new podcasts, specifically David Lucas and William Montgomery from the two regulars from Kill Tony, so they get a regular spot on the show every Monday at the Comedy Store. Great comedians, very different in a lot of ways. David Lucas, finally, one of the first roast comics. I mean, his jokes on stage aren't necessarily roasty, but in the interview portions, it's always fun to watch him roast. And then William Montgomery is just he exists in a different universe, and somehow we're able to see him interact in our world as well. But everything is very much in a fantasy world of William's own brain. And I love it. I love seeing him doing this podcast with David Lucas called Brothers in Cursive, because it gives a little bit different. I mean, it's probably the most real we've ever seen William Montgomery. But it's great. It's great. It's kind of interesting also to see, because it is a new show, it's interesting to see how horrible people are at podcasting when they first start. Just how uncomfortable they are, dead air. Thankfully, Redban's there to produce it and keep the things going. Also, the guests. There's only been a few episodes so far, Brothers in Cursive. I think 3 episodes. The first was just them. I don't think they had a guest. The second episode, they had Dumbfounded, the rap battle hip hop guy. And then the third episode was Joel Jimenez, Joelberg from Kill Tony. But it's fun. And of course, Redban is the producer who also is in the mix with the conversations. But it's a fun show, and I could see it kind of growing into a show where, David Lucas will be a better host. Assuming that the chemistry between William Montgomery and David Lucas doesn't find some weird critical fracture point. But other than that, it's hilarious. I'm looking forward to watching that show grow and get better. And then there's Dead Air with Brian Holtzman. It's a show. There's, I think, only 3 episodes so far. I have yet to watch that episode. I've only watched a couple of the Death Squad Chronicles and then Brothers in Cursive. I've, kind of been keeping up with that. But definitely we'll be adding the Brian Holtzman into the routine as well. But just a really awesome to see the third version of what Redban is creating with the shows. My only concern, there used to be a running gag with Redban's production of shows, specifically the turnaround time in episodes getting released. Now, with Kill Tony show, it seems like that's been resolved, so I think that will carry over to the Death Squad shows also. But the turnover got pretty ridiculous. It was very difficult to be a fan of the earlier Death Squad shows, just in that if you missed the live show, it would take like a month before the episode would actually get released. And it's not like there's massive edits. They're all live to tape episodes. They're all, cameras are switching live. Everything's like live to tape. There should be little to no editing involved. But for whatever reason, but he was also doing, Redban was also doing like 20 shows. He's producing a shitload of shows. So I can imagine burnout would be a big reason for that. And maybe he has help now as well. I hope he has help now. It seems like everything's getting turned over quick. I haven't really paid that much attention, but that would be my only concern, is if he starts producing more shows than he can handle, and gets slowed down. Or, I mean, there is the idea of delaying your shows, which David Show did with DVD ASA, especially after Controversy, where he would record his episodes and they would be released months and months later. But he was never broadcasting live when he did it, so it was, kind of just to stagger the episodes from coming out to avoid controversy. But I prefer the fast turnover. That's always been kind of the thing that I appreciate and something that I've personally strived for when I produce my stuff. But it seems like everything. I hopefully he's like got some help, because that would be probably the biggest thing to fix that issue. But I enjoy it. It brings back a lot of fond memories, and it's cool to see where everything is going from here on out. So big ups to Redban, Deathsquad Studios. You can go check out all of Redban's shows that he's produced over the years over at Deathsquad.tv. He also sells a bunch of merchandise. He's a shirt designer, a clothing designer, as it were. So go check out all of his work. They're all amazing. But yeah, Deathsquad TV, the 3.0 version, I like to think of the studio. So yeah, go check it out. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Go buy my artwork over at InspiredDisorder.com and save 25% when you use coupon code RTS. Follow me on social media at Ray Taylor. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!